Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes.
October 1st. We smash it 10 yards tonight. The buck we call Pickles. A south wind pushing us back to the zag.
Got her stand on our backs.
Set it out and see what happens. You on it?
All right.
Got the air going out of me.
Absolutely drilled him.
And boom, he's that good buck.
Go get my buck, then we're gonna go get homie's buck.
Urban piece as hell.
Got him. Pickles is dead.
Kevin Gates, both kills on hanging hunts.
My first public land buck.
Nice work, dude.
Look at that. Triple brow on the right.
I'm digging that.
Bucked out October 28th. An absolutely incredible season.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes. I know that quite doesn't have the same ring to it as Cody does it. Cody's a professional, and I'm just out here bullshitting it. So let's not joke around about it. This podcast is from our trip in Iowa. Cody's weekend was cut short. Unfortunately, his kids were sick during the week, and then on the way out there, he was getting bubble guts, and he tried it Friday night. We had supper, and then he ended up had to calling it a weekend early. So just me out there flying solo. We podcasted at the NXT Level Booth, and I will forewarn you, not some super crispy audio like you got coming at you right now, and not our usual OG christening of the earhole audio that you guys are used to, but still doable, still listening, still can listen to it and pick up what we're putting down. So that's first thing. Second thing is we're going to get into the people that make this possible, and we're going to start off with Last Breath TV. These guys are getting ready to go out there and hit shed season hard. They've really been holding back. They got a lot of really good private ground, and they're going to get out there and scoop up some hammers, I'm sure. There's a couple bucks that I know made it that going to be absolute slammers. Hopefully they can get out there and pick them up and add to the story here coming up for the 2022 season. Exodus trail cameras. Very cool to see them at the Iowa show and get to see the whole crew there. And just like we read here last week, these guys for the first time ever are doing a buyback program for the month of March. And what that is if you have purchased an Exodus trail camera, an old regular lift, and there's 7-year-old lifts out there still operating pretty badass. So if you have an old lift, Lift 2, or Trek, you can lock in $100 off a new Exodus render. So if you're in the position to lock in these savings, here's what you need to do. You're going to need to go to ExodusOutdoorGear.com and use the code TRADEUP at checkout. Lock in your $100 savings, and then they will send you a shipping label, and you're going to send your camera back. When they receive that, they're going to send you your new render with that 5-year no BS warranty. So some things that I'm really liking about the render is that there's a lot of different attachments for the cell cam or add-ons to the cell cam. It's not just a regular cell cam. You're going to be able to get a Python cable lock for it. You can get a security box for it as well. And you can also get that SP18 solar panel. So you can literally put that thing up and leave it in your sanctuary or whatever. Know that thing's going to be rock solid. And you guys are always going to have that 5-year warranty in your back pocket. Right on optics, not just rifle scopes. New to the lineup this year is going to be a 10x42 primal binos. These binos are fog-proof and waterproof, and they are also backed by their warranty. So going to be, if something happens to them bad boys, they're going to be shipping them out quickly to you to replace them. Check them out at rightonoptics.com. Next Level Deer Supplements. That's what we cover in the first 10 minutes here. I got a chit-chat with Nate, and it's really impressive to sit back and watch him talk deer nutrition. And you would think that Nate has, some sort of degree in, biology and ruminant function, but he's just really super passionate about it. And you can tell that when he's talking to somebody, at the shows or through a Facebook Messenger or, over the phone like these guys typically do. So it's very cool to see that. You're going to be able to hear him explain some differences in the feed. One thing that I didn't know was the difference between their spring and summer feed versus their fall and winter blend. So you get to know about that here. And the rest of these guys here, we got JOEY KISER from North Carolina, a passionate listener, one of the most unique listener stories I've heard. Also got Matt Williams on the line here. Matt, super good guy, was very pleased to meet him at the show, and look forward to continuing that friendship. Talk to him about not relying on the trail cameras for shed season. So very interesting story there. And just like we've always said here with hunting for trail cameras, he kind of has a shed story about that. And then talked to JP. We talked to JP about his current shed season, how he's doing out there in Indiana scooping, and talked to him about upcoming turkey season, along with him traveling these last couple weeks helping out deer crossing archery. So that's what we got coming up in this show here. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into it. All right, here we are at the Iowa Deer Classic, guys. We're at the NXT Level Booth, and it's Saturday morning. Saturday morning, right?
Yeah, Saturday.
All right. Just getting started here at the show. And, man, right off the get-go here, it was pretty busy. A lot of people starting to really come in now. I snagged Nate here for a quick little podcast clip. How you doing today?
Doing good, man.
I'm going to say we're doing a lot better than we were a year ago at this time.
Yeah,
so,
especially one of us.
Yeah, especially me. Made it all the way last night, so that's always good. How was the show yesterday for you?
Fridays are always a little bit hit and miss. We had good numbers, especially bounced back from COVID the year before. But Friday's always a lot of lookers. But Saturday's when people come ready to buy, spend money, really talk deer hunting.
I was going to say, man, right off the get-go here, people in here tall boying it up. Definitely a lot more interaction today just in the first, hour and a half that the show's been on. Kind of talk about the setup and what you guys got going on here at the booth.
Well, we got about 6 deer heads hanging in here, all deer that were on our products. The biggest one we got here was a Kyle Leonard buck that was killed in south central Iowa. It was a 187-inch, just massive deer. If anybody's been following us on social media, you've seen us post that deer a lot. Kyle, actually, we just met him at the show last year. He took home a bunch of our mineral, and we got pictures of that deer just all summer long. Everybody was drooling over it. So when he finally got him the first part of November, everybody was jacked. And Old Barn Taxidermy, I believe, is who he had do the work on it, but they made sure they got him done so that we could display him here at our booth in Iowa.
I would say the mount looks great over there on the wall. Your guys' booth looks really good. It's not over the top, but it looks really good, and it's pretty simple.
Yeah, we don't get near as flashy as some people. We try to have enough stuff to catch people's attention, obviously, but it's just too much to haul around the big flashy stuff, and we ain't flashy guys, so be something you're not.
Yeah, just doing this as a side hustle. You guys got a pretty good setup here. Man, Kyle's buck in velvet looked absolutely humongous.
Yeah, just a mammoth deer.
Not saying it's not humongous, over there on the wall, but I mean, holy shit, that thing in velvet really get your heart pumping. And it's always good to have a lot of people stop by the booth and just get snag a business card or a brochure, and you do a great job trying to educate people on nutrition, and you just tell everybody pretty much right to their face, go around the show and go look at their ingredients and look at their product, and then swing back by and really dive into the ingredients and the ratios and everything. So
yeah, it comes down to just making sure people feel like they're getting the worth out of their money. People work hard for their money, and deer hunting's a big passion for a lot of people. So if you're going to be paying your hard-earned cash for something, you might as well be getting what you're paid for.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard a handful of people just come by and say, well, I just buy whatever block's available at the store, and not a lot of people are really diving deep into it. And if feeding was something that we could do back home, I would know a little bit more about it. It's just kind of a weird thing, because it is kind of a expensive part of hunting that we don't really see, being from Illinois. But shelling out that much money, you're going to want to get the biggest bang for your buck.
Right.
And it's kind of baffling to me that some people are just, buying what's there and not really looking at it, taking that extra step and making sure that they can get the best, ingredients out there for their deer. And, a lot of people, just like everything else, get into the marketing hype of a lot of products and stuff. And, that's one thing that you guys don't really do. You just let the product really speak for itself on performance. Look at that ingredient list, the guaranteed analysis, and, some special things that you guys got in there for the deer.
Right. We really try to focus on not being gimmicky. And that's just something that we feel is just kind of runs rampant kind of in the industry, is what's the next flashy thing that somebody can push in front of people and see how much they can sell of it. And we're the total opposite of that. Our bags are not flashy. Scott and I are not flashy. We just love deer hunting. And when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, and you educate yourself on things just like you do with trail cameras, just like you do with optics, just like you do with broadheads and bows and everything else that you're passionate about for your sport. If you're in a state where you can focus on nutrition, it just makes sense to make sure that you're getting what you pay for and not just falling for, the next flavored salt bomb that's out there.
Yeah.
People, they'll tell you it's great, but that's their job to tell you it's great. So we just try to educate people, share what we've learned from our nutritionists, and let our products speak for themselves by the labels and the information we give.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on the podcast that we had you on, the very first one, or if it was just through conversation. But one thing that I like about your guys' product is you're not really trying to attract deer to it, but the thing about it is the deer are attracted to it because they know it gives them the nutrition that they need. And I think that really speaks volumes to the type of product that you guys are putting out, that actual next level supplementation for the deer.
Right. Where it kind of come from, or the name come from, it just kind of, it hit me one day and it kind of stuck. But the way that we focus on digestive performance and how we can boost rumen function and feed efficiency, which is the amount of nutrition that the deer can get out of everything they consume, not just, a particular product they're eating. But if you can take everything they're eating, the food plot that you plant, the available ag that's available to them, any browse that's available to them, if you can boost that feed efficiency, they can get 10 to 12% more nutrition out of everything they eat. Every leaf, every stick, every bit of grains, they're going to get more nutrition out of it. So that you literally are taking not only that animal, but everything they eat to the next level.
Yeah, 10 to 12% doesn't seem like a big deal, one day or 1 week, but you start adding in 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, that 10% really over the lifespan of a deer is going to make a huge difference. And, just like you said, it's not just, the feed itself, but it's actually helping them consume everything in their diet from, acorns to ag and, everything that all the work that we put in the summer in food plots can even benefit more from that. So
so all the habitat improvements people focus on, why not get more out of that? And I mean, it's one of those things where you try to establish a source of nutrition that is available as much as possible to these animals, just like you do with your food plots and stuff. You want to have a surplus nutrition. You want to have too much nutrition for them to eat. That way, fetal programming can take over in the does, and they'll unlock the genetic potential of their offspring. So you can have your does on it, and then the entire development of that fawn before it's born is on it, and then you stack that year after year after year. That's when you can start to push genetic potential of your deer. It's not necessarily about taking a 3.5-year-old buck and then trying to make him big. You want to get your does on it so that your fawns are bigger, and then later in life, they will be bigger than what they would have been.
Yeah, and that's another thing. And I know big bucks sell, and all the marketing stuff. But one thing that you guys really push that you don't really hear a lot of other companies pushing is that overall herd health, and that fawn getting that step ahead from day one with the supplementation, and having a good, strong, healthy doe lactating, and just providing the best milk for that fawn. Because everything gets, everybody gets fired up when it's velvet season and everything. And you guys are out there pushing, overall herd health, healthy does, and, feeding all year round, not just starting to pour out mineral in May, right now. Well, here's March, you guys you got the fall and winter blend, and then you got your spring and summer blend. And kind of go into the difference of those two real quick, and then I'll let you get back to the show.
Spring and summer blend is basically built and formulated for does and fawns. When a fawn drops, after it begins on solid foods, it'll still be nursing, but does need around 20% protein to maximize lactation. And fawns need, in order to kind of push and reach their maximum body mass, need 22 to 24%. So that's where we have it at, is 22 to 24%, so that you're pushing body mass on your fawns so that they go into the wintertime as healthy as can be so they can survive. And then at the same time, most adult deer, except for does when they're lactating, can only process between 16 to 18% protein, but we don't overdo it to the point to where we'll start damaging kidneys and things like that. Everybody talks about salt in a mineral product. Less salt is the better. Well, that's not necessarily true either. In order for a doe to maximize lactation, they also need around 32% salt. So that's exactly what we have in our product, is what maximizes everything, so that those does and fawns are in the best, best health possible, and then your butts are a reflection of that. And when deer are coming out of the winter run down, it's going to take them longer to get a jump start on their antlers. So you want to have that surplus nutrition so that their body gets caught up and recovered as soon as possible, so that when it's antler growing season and fawns are dropping, those deer are there to handle it. They're ready to rock and roll.
So there you guys have it. Appreciate you having us out here again, and it's fun to come out here and hang out with you guys, and have a bang up time like we did last night, and hopefully we can keep doing this for the years to come.
Yeah, man, it's a blast. We always enjoy seeing you guys. We built a really close friendship with you, so it's always good to get the family back together.
All right, I got probably the most excited person that I wanted to talk to coming here to the show. I got JOEY KISER. Is it Kaiser?
Yep.
Just straight up like it is? Right
yes,
on.
Sir.
Honestly, I've never had to say your last name, so I just got it typed in my phone. And so this is a pretty funny story, but we're going to tell it, or I'm going to have you tell it. But you're from North Carolina.
Yep, that's right.
And you found the podcast, and then you've done some heavy listening.
Yeah, really heavy listening.
So just kind of tell the people what you do for a job, and then I'll get into the kind of the part that I want to get into.
Okay, right on. So I'm actually a welder for John Deere Hitachi, which we just switched over to just John Deere this February, and that's pretty much what I do for a living.
And you work third shift.
Yep, third shift.
So out there on the night grind.
Yep.
And you had listened to you're tired of listening to music, so you wanted to get into the podcast side of some audio, and search for some whitetail hunting podcasts and come across us. And you've done something that I've never heard of anybody doing or doing like you did. So you had listened to a handful of episodes, and you're like, all right, I like this show. I'm digging it, and kind of
Absolutely.
our style. And then what did you do from there?
So basically, I would listen to all the new episodes, and whenever they came out, but I basically listened to the entire podcast in reverse. So it was pretty entertaining, because I already knew what was going on, what happened before the next podcast. So
that's hilarious. So it's really interesting, like when you get back towards when we're hunting Mr. Freeze, and because we talked about that deer a lot on here. And it was like really the first deer that we had the sheds from, and Cody had hunted the property and had a really good feel for it. And we talked to like Heath Cisco, Josh McAllister, them type of guys that we still look up to, but they would be talking to us, and Cody and I would be off to the side, thinking about how we would apply what they're talking about to the lease, or how to hunt Mr. Freeze. And so here you are, we shot the deer, and then you're listening to 3 episodes before that, and like we're talking about maybe getting on this shanty out in the woods to hunt this deer, in kind of a bombardment spot. And you're like, nope, you guys ain't gonna do that.
Yep, nope, not gonna happen.
Like, that is a terrible idea. And you listen to all of our episodes here in like a 3 to 4 month span.
Yeah, I binged pretty hard.
And but I mean, when you find something that you like, I definitely hit it hard, boom, 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 like that too. And we exchanged numbers after, messaging a little bit on Facebook. And one thing that you had said is in that short 3-month time, you've got to listen to 4 years of podcasts, but you've also got to listen to Cody and I mature a little bit as hunters, get a little bit of knowledge. And, it's just big in part to like kind of our motto is, just finding that small time relatable guy. And I think that having that kind of a vision has helped us become better hunters, because we're talking to guys that are actually relatable and hunting the way that we are, and having the same challenges that we have. So it would be interesting to do what you did in just a short time, listen to a couple of guys, and hear how much that we've changed.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, it was like y'all matured so much through the duration of the podcast, and it was definitely interesting listening to everything backwards.
Yeah,
in that short period of time.
That's interesting as hell to me, because that's something that like you get the nugget, and then 2 episodes before, like you see the seed planted.
Yep. And it was like now y'all were all just hanging, banging, and stuff like that. And then when I listened back into the episodes, y'all were doing completely different stuff.
Yeah. So that's great. But so you hunt in North Carolina a little bit, and then you've also got a piece up in Ohio.
Yep. Yeah, I go to Ohio, and that's mainly where I do all my
That's where it goes down.
killing. Yep.
You've done a little bit of hunting here in Iowa, correct?
Yep.
And you're gonna potentially be moving, or are you?
Yeah, potentially. I might try and transfer up to Mullen, and then
Mullen,
or however you guys say it.
I was telling her about that on the way up here. Mullen, that's
it. And then I'd like to live across the river in Iowa, so I can get that coveted residency.
Get in on the good shit over there.
Yep.
Well, how was your season last year, real quick?
It was pretty rough. I didn't get out as much as I'd like to, and actually my first sit, I shot a great deer and ended up losing him, and it was just complete heartbreaker.
Yeah, I mean, from the story that you've kind of told me, it was a really close shot, like 15 yards, I think.
Yep.
In the
he
neighborhood
was
there.
On top of me. It was a chip shot.
And deer's not alert, just kind of come in, and you got to see him work a scrape.
Yep. Right in front of me.
And I always love watching that type of stuff.
Oh, it was awesome. He had his head raked back. Just you can't ask for a better show.
And you feel like you made a good shot, and why did you tend to wait just a little bit, give him a little bit of time?
Really, I hadn't shot a deer of that caliber yet, and I was just like, all right, I'm not making any mistakes on this. I'm going to give him that time, and then I did, and I actually backed out and came back the next morning, and he had ran towards the bean field, and I found out they decided to cut the beans that night after I left, so he was either combine toast or got picked up.
Yeah, I would say the farmer was like, oh, hey, what do we got here? And scooped. But, man, that's unfortunate. But one of them situations that you think you're trying to do the right thing, and then it just doesn't. You don't catch that one lucky break that you needed. And I feel like, from just the story that you've told me, that deer did die in that field. He didn't make it out,
Yeah, it kind of entered maybe about he took a step towards me, so quartering towards right as I released, and the arrow probably went in maybe about the second or third rib, but where he was quartering, it got hung up in probably his opposite femur, and I could see my fletchings kind of clogging the hole, so he ran off with 26, 27 inches of arrow in him, ripped all the way through the body. So you got
Right.
some lung, gut, liver. I mean, he should have been right there.
Yep. And then went back this shed season, tried to put out the most effort you could at that time too, and
Yeah,
come up empty-handed. And
I pounded it out in the pouring rain from daylight till dark, going through all the thick stuff. Pretty much covered everything I possibly could, and came up empty. So
that
that's how it
sucks.
goes sometimes.
I think
guess.
we've all been there, and it just sucks that it was on a really, really great deer.
Yep.
But you're already on to the next one and looking forward to next year. And
Yep.
We got some cell cams out there now.
Yep. I do. Got some soaking.
So he scooped up a couple renders there with our code, and got the solar panels out there.
Yep.
And gonna let it eat and see what's out there for this year, man.
Yep. Hopefully it'll turn around for me.
All right, man. I'm glad you could make the show. I enjoyed being able to talk to you and finally meet you in person, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, here we are with the man, the myth, and the legend. And when I say legend, I am not shitting you. Late addition to the Snap group, Matt Williams.
Well,
What's going on, man?
That's probably the most exaggerated introduction
You think?
anybody's ever given me. I appreciate it.
It's been good to get to know you a little bit and actually get here to Iowa and meet in person, which is always fun. It's different seeing people through Snapchat and then getting the real deal here in person. I can tell you're kind of a bigger guy, through Snap, but actually get the true size of you here. It's always good, man.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I've really enjoyed about this Iowa show is, like you mentioned, there's social media. You have a lot of social media contacts and friends, and then you kind of both look at each other across the aisle, or they'll come up to your booth, and it's just awesome to put a face to a lot of these guys in person and actually get to know them. So
yeah,
the Iowa show's been great. Met a lot of great people, including yourself, and too bad Cody wasn't able to stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. So you're kind of a big into shed hunting.
Probably shed hunting a little more passionate than I even whitetail hunt.
Which when you get to that level, it seems crazy to me, but like to you, that's just kind of something. I guess when you get that bug, and that's really what you're into. Like I'm a little bit more into turkeys than most people are, and people look at me crazy, and I'm kind of the same thing with you with shed hunting. Like it's a little crazy to get that much into it over actually hunting.
You can come shoot all the turkeys you want down in Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot all of Scott's turkeys actually.
That's right.
At least gonna try.
I remember that arrangement was made last night.
Yeah. So through getting to know you and the old-fashioned beer classic last night at the Airbnb, you were telling me a story about a buck that you got some history with, and I thought the story was pretty fascinating as far as I felt like you're just gonna be able to go in there and scoop up some sheds, nice, quick, in a hurry, but turns out that kind of a different outcome here. So kind of go into the story here real quick, and we'll let you get on with the show.
Yeah, you bet. So we were after a buck that we called Holyfield. I first saw him back in 2017. The only reason I gave him that name was for some reason he had a chunk of his ear missing. And if any of you guys remember the old boxer Evander Holyfield when Mike Tyson bit his ear off. So we thought the name was kind of funny, and it just stuck. But Holyfield came around back in 2017. He was just a beautiful, clean 5x5. We're hunting a pretty good-sized track, but he was really isolated on about really only 320 acres of that 640. So had a lot of history with him. He was only, we thought at the time, probably a 2.5, 3-year-old. Had a lot of opportunities, a lot of encounters with him, passed him. 2018 came, and I can't really say he blew up, but he significantly was bigger and kind of grew almost a second main beam on his left side. No encounters with him in person, but he was all over the farm on trail cameras. A lot of daylight appearances. No opportunities to shoot him. 2019 comes around, and that's when he truly blew up. He was probably somewhere around that 180 mark.
God.
And it came down to about February. We're thinking, all right, he's going to drop. We're still running all of our cell cams. And that particular afternoon, it was about 5 o'clock, he shows up on the trail cam with both sides. He comes out of that 80 where he beds, hits the first site where we've got a bunch of next level feed. In Nebraska, that's legal. Season was closed, so for anybody questioning that, in Nebraska, totally legal circumstances. Came down to the feed site out of bedding, had one side. And the distance between that bedding area camera and the camera where he had already lost one side was probably only 150, 200 yards. I know the trails. It seemed like it was going to be a gimme. About 3, 4 a.m., he was up on another site with one side. And then that morning, right at sunrise, he's back in bedding with none. And like I said, with that missing chunk out of his ear, he had a lot of identifiers that we were 100% which buck that was. There he dropped 2 sides one evening. The total distance couldn't have been 300 yards. And we put on, between Brent and Lammers and I, we put on probably 40 miles between February and March looking for that match set, because 180-inch deer, who would not dream of having those. The 3 years of history we had with them, just something we really, really wanted to find. But 40 miles in, and the grass is green, it's turkey season, we never were able to find those sheds. So kind of a heartbreaker. This season, he was killed by a neighbor, so kind of a bittersweet ending to the story. He actually was a little bit smaller this year, we think, than he was the year that we were hunting his sheds. But it just goes to show you, man, those things are so not gimmies, like I said earlier. They're so hard to find, and I guess looking back, we probably think they're out in the CRP somewhere. We hit the timber, we focused on the creeks, we focused on the food, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, you got the cameras bread trailing back and stuff, and man, you get him on one, and then he's missing half a side. You're like, okay, so it's got to be here. And just like you said, you know, you go in there and you search the trails, and Brent said he's climbing under trees and shit trying to scoop it up. And
we knew that deer's. We knew everything he did, and we still couldn't find him.
And see, like, it's not a small antler by any means. You know, it's a hammer for sure.
You think they'd stick out?
Yeah, you think you need to be able to see that thing when you get out of the truck. But yeah, I love that story, and you know, it just goes to show you, trail cams are only giving you a little sliver of you know what they actually capture. And when we get a buck on cam, you know, or around season or something, and we're like, okay, he's going to this ag field, or he's going to hit this scrape, or he just come from bedding over here. And especially when we get cameras in such a small increment, exactly like you have, we think we got a really good idea of what that deer did or is doing. And in this scenario, it just goes to show you have no idea what the hell that deer's doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It helps you know what they're doing, but they're still going to throw you a curve. I mean, as much as you think you have a deer pattern, it's, you know, 9 times out of 10, you really don't.
Yeah. So, well, it's good to meet you, man. I appreciate you hopping on here for a little bit and
absolutely.
Telling that story. I love that just because it's so relatable to us, and we used to put a little bit more stock into trail cameras, and in situations like this, we're taking a little less out of you know, emphasis on how important trail cameras are or dictating how we hunt. So this is a good story to kind of keep that at the forefront of your brain, and remember that deer's always doing whatever he wants to do, and at any given time. So
you got it.
All right, man. Maybe we can do this again, and
yeah,
get you on a
definitely looking forward to coming
show,
back to Iowa shows probably every year after this. Like I said, pleasure to meet you and Cody. I wish Cody could have stayed a little bit longer.
Next year, hopefully Cody will be able to stay around, and we haven't been able to be on a podcast together at Iowa in the 2 years we've been here, which seems absolutely crazy, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And hopefully next year we can get all hammered again and get a good beer classic podcast out there for everyone.
You got it. Well, best of luck to you guys this fall.
All right, man. You too. All righty, the moment we've all been waiting for. We've been blessed with the presence of JP Hathaway. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. What are you up to?
Oh, hanging out here at the show, and you know, this is where we got to meet in person last year. You and the Bowhunting League posse crashed the Airbnb last year, unbeknownst to us, and it was a hell of a surprise, man. Like, got to meet you guys, and we partied hard. We went hard last year.
Yeah, last year with Ben and Dave and everybody else, we kind of showed up over there I don't really think anybody planned on drinking like that. I don't know. It was a good time.
I would say everybody's been asking me about, my original hardwood floor story, and I just tell them, look, I had a lot of, pent up energy for last year, and then when it come time to rip, we ripped hard, and maybe went a little overboard.
Oh yeah, you were all gas, no brakes, and all I got to say, like, I would love to take a moment of silence for those hardwood floors because R.I.P. them.
Yeah, it's they didn't turn out. They were in a lot worse condition when I left there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they weren't great before that.
No, absolutely not. The original hardwood floors were put up on a pedestal, and we tore that shit down fast.
I was really hoping you were going to show up in Indiana. I think I snapped you. Did you see the cowhide floor at our last Airbnb?
Yeah, that was pretty legit, though.
Yeah, it was real classy. It was real classy.
I was saying you've been bouncing around to so many damn shows. I thought that might have been where you guys stayed at the first time here.
No, the first time, or our first round here, we actually stayed in the same place you guys are staying in now.
Right. Okay.
You guys came in there the day that we left.
So, since last year, been able to follow you kind of here through Snapchat and get to know each other a little bit better, and you've been doing some shed hunting this year. How's that been going?
It's been going pretty decent. I think I'm at 26 on the year. Picked my first one up, I don't know, early to mid-February, and from there, anytime I'm not at work, I've been hitting it hard. But come to these shows and then work, I haven't really had the chance to get out and hit it as hard as I would like. Mm-hmm. Found one set off of one of our target bucks. Found another one of our target bucks dead, unfortunately. I don't know if I sent that one to you or not. We didn't send that one to a whole lot of people. But I don't know, like I said, I'm at 26. It's going decent. The goal was 50 this year, but traveling for shows, and then I take off here in a matter of about 2.5 weeks for Texas. Go turkey hunting down there, and from there it'll just be a shit show on turkey hunting all over the place. So I don't know how much more shed hunting we'll get to do this year.
Yeah, I would say at least a good thing is now that the time's right, at least to be out there and hopefully find some. But 50 is a hell of a goal, man. How many miles do you think you got in?
Oh, God. This year so far, I haven't kept track like I should, but for 26 antlers, I know I'm better than 30. I'd say I'm probably closer to 40 miles.
So it's still not a bad ratio as far as, miles per shed.
Yeah, no. I mean, being from Indiana, it's not like it is in Kansas or out here in Iowa where we're at right now. I mean, it seems like these guys out here walk a mile, find 10 sheds. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you guys, you know how it is. It ain't like that for us.
No. We always say if we can get, 3 miles a shed, then you're in the game. So, as I mentioned there, you've been traveling here with these shows. Kind of, who are you with, and how's the experience been?
I've been traveling with Deer Crossing Archery. They're a company that I actually met out here in Iowa, is where I first met Daniel and Jessica. They're the ones that own the company. And, man, it's been a blast. I've had an absolutely wonderful time hanging out with Daniel and Jessica. Other than I was doing really good about losing weight. I was down solid 20 pounds. I've put on a solid probably 40 in the last 2 weeks. We eat like champs.
I would say you have been showing out on the snaps there as far as dinner and appetizers goes, but you guys are not holding back at all.
Oh, yeah. And then Jessica, she'll anywhere we go, she'll I'll have a salad. And me and Daniel, I'll have an appetizer for myself, an appetizer for him. Dude, next thing I know, we're $140 into dinner every night. And, yeah, it's just me and Daniel eating it. It's not okay.
Last year, kind of here at the show, I did get hands-on on the arrows. And you got to shoot them last year. How did they perform for you?
Well, I didn't really get to shoot them at the show last year. I talked to Jessica here at the show, and then once I got home, I was needing new arrows anyways, getting ready to head into turkey season. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give them a shot. So I ordered a dozen arrows off of them.
The gun guys?
Huh?
The gun guys going after turkeys with a bow? Is that what you're telling me here?
Well,
oh, come on,
I
JP.
mean, don't get me wrong, but I still shotgun my birds. I'll still shotgun a few.
All right.
But for the sake of Ben and the league, and now that I'm real tied in with DCA, you know what I mean? I've still gotta
give it the old college try.
Yeah. So actually, this year My goal is to decap like 5 birds. I want to absolutely decap them.
Where are you going in Texas?
Down the southern part of the state. We'll be down there for 4 or 5 days, and then we may head up to the northern part, and then go. If we have time, we may hit Oklahoma with Kevin.
Okay, so my fault. Back to the arrows here.
Okay.
So, you got some set up here for turkey season.
Yeah. Last year I had them build me a dozen of their hunter shafts, which is just your regular diameter shafts, and then, like I said, I absolutely loved them. I mean, I had great success with them. They were wonderful arrows. So then I sold the bow that I was shooting and got my new Matthews last year. Well, I wanted to go with a heavier arrow. So still didn't really know the people from DCA, but I had one of their cards, so I picked it up and called them. Well, unbeknownst to me, Daniel, who owns the company, was actually the one who answered the phone. So I talked to him, told him what I was shooting, what I had going on, and he's like, all right, well, if it was me, this is what I would shoot. I said, well, that's what I want when I call a place. I want somebody to help me with what I need, because I'm an operator. You know what I mean? I move dirt. I don't build arrows for a living. I don't know what I need half the time.
For sure.
So he hooked me up with these silencers. I bought them. And dude, they're the most unbelievable arrows I've ever shot in my life. I mean, you've seen the Snapchats. You know, we'll get a little tore down out in the shop. And, I mean, I've shot concrete blocks with these things. I've killed multiple deer with them. And they are, hands down, the most toughest arrows I've ever shot in my life. And on top of that, they're extremely affordable. I mean, for the price of a half dozen of your, in quotes, big brand arrows, you can buy a dozen of these. So they're way more affordable, and they're twice the product of your other arrows.
Yeah, I got to talk to Jessica there for, a handful of minutes, and she said that they kind of feel like they're getting overlooked due to being reasonably priced.
Right.
And people think that it might be a cheaper product, when actually the quality is superseding the price. And she just wants to keep it a fair price for the normal person out there. So gonna try to, the growth for them has been impeccable for the short time that they've been doing it, and I only see it getting more and more. And as soon as I put my hands on the heavy shafts that you shot, I was blown away by the quality of that arrow.
Yeah. Our carbon walls are almost twice as thick as your normal carbon walls on your micro diameters.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely not going anywhere, and the specs and the torque on them that they keep their product at is really tight, and you can definitely tell it when you hold it in your hand.
Yeah. I can't wait to for you to get some in your bow, and I promise you'll fall in love with them.
I would say I think it's going to happen, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, so are we.
So, well, good luck this turkey season, man, and hopefully you can knock a head off or two, and I'm sure I'll get to see it, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right, man, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you.
All right, guys, that wraps up this show. I appreciate you guys working with us here on that audio. New equipment and first time traveling with it and trying to figure it all out. It's a little bit above my expertise, so I need to do a little bit of research and spend some time trying to figure it out here with between the headset and the soundboard and getting every setting right where it needs to be. But can't thank Nate and his whole crew for having us out there and hosting us again. It was a blast out there, and look forward to coming back next year. Appreciate you guys listening and following along here in the off season, and hopefully it's the beginning of March, middle of March now, so hopefully the weather's breaking for you guys. You can get out there and find some antlers and do some scouting and hopefully get a game plan for the upcoming season. So remember, always try to do the right thing, leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.